G'day YouTubers, and welcome to another episode. After the last episode where I had to cut my overnighter short, I was really keen to get out and complete the overnighter. So I did something I don't normally do, and I went out on a consecutive weekend. I had a great day on the water in immaculate weather conditions. It was really beautiful. If it hadn't been for a series of oversights and minor disasters, it would have been a perfect trip. It all started the night before when my sciatic nerve played up, and I ended up only getting about 2 hours sleep if I was lucky. What I should have done is when the alarm went off, turned it off and rolled over and gone back to sleep, but I didn't because I wanted to get out on the water. I got up and I went. That was probably my first mistake, but not the worst disaster, and to be fair, the disasters weren't my fault. Some of the mishaps were. But anyway, keep viewing and you'll find out all about it. Another nice early start before first light. I'm surprised at the number of boats that are getting down here so early now. A lot more than there used to be a year or so ago. This early, that is. Maybe everyone's looking at my videos and thinking, oh, he gets out early, maybe we should too. Might be just that there's more boats around too. Anyway, off to drop some crab pots. I don't know if there's enough light here for you to see too much, but I'll give it a go. See what happens. I'll just show you setting up the crab pot. We have a couple of big ones left. Maybe not. Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, half of one of Mr. Bait Goosey mullet. A little bit of magic elixir in the bottle. And that's that one ready to go. And that's all there is to it. I always cut the mullet in half, and depending on what my plan is, I'll either put a half in or a full one in. My plan today is to come back and check them in the early afternoon and put another half mullet in with it, and then again in the morning put another half mullet in with it. Once I got on the water, my first mistake in my sleep-fogged condition was to turn the switches the wrong way. The main switch turns on clockwise. My two auxiliary switches need to be turned anti-clockwise in order to switch the batteries on and connect them to the alternator to charge. But I didn't do that. I turned everything on clockwise. I didn't realise I'd done that till I got back at the ramp and turned all the switches off, and I realised my mistake. And that was a mistake that cut the day short again, because while I was drawing power from the batteries and everything seemed to be working fine, the alternator wasn't charging them. Oh, first fish, but he's tiny. He's bait. Live bait will go. Oh, yeah. Don't know if he's going to survive, actually. Oh, I got something decent this time. Doesn't want to come up, I think. Feeling giving a bit of head shake. Don't use a snapper though. Oh, didn't get my net ready either. Right, I've got it ready. Just got to get him up now. There's your stingray, maybe. Oh, he doesn't want to come off the bottom. Oh, I'm getting some line on him anyway. I should get a look at him soon. Bloody big wobbegong, is he? Yep, big wobby. Huge wobby.
Alright, okay. Well, I think you can have those hooks. Alright, got ready anyway. I was going to cut it. I was hoping to save my sinker, but never mind. Can have that. Feels like another wobbegong. Definitely feels like it. Get a look soon. Yep, that's what he is. Might even be the same one. Well, you can keep those hooks too. There we go. Wasn't such a fight this time on the heavier rod.
My second mistake this morning was getting too rushed when I was tied up at the pontoon getting the bait ready. I had all the navigation lights on, the MFDs were on, got the transducers on, and two other boats were coming off their trailers at the ramp and they were going to need the pontoon. So I got rushed, I cast off, I didn't turn the recorder on for the Farino, so I didn't record the Farino for the whole trip, which was absolute tragedy because there were so many good things on the sounder. And I thought, oh, I'm going to say this or that about this and you'll know what to look for on your sounder. Didn't get any of it. Didn't realise that till I got home and pulled the USB stick out and there was nothing on it. So that was mistake number 2. Again, I blame lack of sleep for that one.
On 2 wobbegongs and something fit. Oh, what was that jumping over there? 2 wobbegongs and a bait fish so far. Well, at least it's interesting.
My third mistake this morning was that I forgot to readjust the video capture size on the ×0 unit because I had been playing with it on a different monitor which had a different resolution. I knew I had to change the resolution when I got down to the boat and I forgot all about it. Again, I blame the lack of sleep. And you can see for yourself what a useless video this is, with most of the interesting area of the screen outside the video capture.
Okay, well, another smallie. This bloke. Oh, I must have caught a couple more. And I caught myself there, didn't see that hook. Something on him. Undersized squire. Jagged.
Little red bar. Which way?
I'll try and get you off without hurting you too much. Which is not going to be all that easy. As soon as you jag yourself like that. Oh dear. Got him. Afraid you're bleeding a bit. Not too good, are you? You might make it. You're swimming. Okay. You got a chance anyway. Got a bit of current running now. So I'm just going to quickly put on one of these click sinkers. A really quick way to adjust your weight. I'll put him up here for this one. Something small. Oh, little Moses. He might be keeper size. Not bad eating. What's he gonna go? Oh, yeah, 26 is legal, but I think I'll send him back. Too small to worry about.
This is another shark that I caught. Again, I thought I had the camera on, but it wasn't. Again, I put it down to being too tired and getting out of sync, trying to conserve the battery for an overnight trip, which is why I often just turn the camera on and the fight's already on. But in this case, I thought it was on and it wasn't. At least I got a still picture of it. It was about 1 metre long, just a bit under, I think, about 10 centimetres under a metre. It's a cat shark, or carpet shark, cat shark I think, and it's a bottom feeder. It put up more of a fight than a wobbegong on the lighter gear. I was using a 10-pound line when I caught that, but it wasn't a great fight, just more than the wobbegong. Now catch a reef shark, they'll put up a decent fight, and really it's the fight and getting it to the bait that's the important bit. Getting a fish that you can eat makes it a little bit better, but I enjoy the fight.
Huge, just had to go at that. Broke it off at the rod tip, it just went bang. Bent it right down and shit. Huh. Bloody hell. I didn't put the bait runner on, that was a problem. I've been putting that on all morning. And the one time I needed it, I forgot it.
About an hour, hour and a half later, I had another instance where I caught a big fish. I reckon it was either a large mackerel or a small tuna, the way it took off. This time I got to fight it for a little while, not for very long, and again the line broke in the middle of the rod. Now this is brand new or nearly new, high quality braid. This is the third trip I've had it out, and I've had 3 line breaks in the middle of the rod on the braid. I've checked the guides and checked the guides. I cannot see any burrs or sharp edges on them that would damage the line. The first time it happened was on the second trip, and I thought, well, maybe that part of the line had got down amongst the reef in the previous trip and I hadn't noticed it, and it had got a little bit damaged, and that's why it broke. But now on this trip it's happened twice, and I really don't know what to make of it. As I say, brand new high quality line, it shouldn't happen. There must be something wrong with the guides or something, but I cannot find it. I've had a magnifying glass on it and they all look fine. Anyway, that's a problem for me to solve. I didn't have the camera on either. I thought it was on, so I didn't bother checking it, but I don't have the footage, so obviously the camera was off at the time. I do turn it on and off periodically to try and conserve battery a little bit when I'm overnighting, and sometimes I forget whether it's on or off. Since this was going to be an overnighter and there's lots of bait schools under there, I dropped the sabiki down to pick up some live bait for the night. I wasn't sure where I was going to spend the night at that point, but I wanted to get some bait ready. Live bait's always the best. Now I picked up some yakkers, a few herrings, had to throw a small Moses perch back, and I got a legal sized whiting on the sabiki rig. And one whiting doesn't make a meal, but he does make great bait.
And there's a really nice Boston whaler there in the background. Had some nice blokes on it, came and said hello. I hope they did well on their overnight trip. Certainly did better than I did because they would have stayed out. Now this is an overview of the bathymetry from the area that I was fishing. You can see Harry Atkinson's reef in the centre left of the screen, that rectangle. And then up in the Rouse Channel at the very right hand end of the bathymetry data is a blob, and that is the Rouse knob. I did go backwards and forwards over it to get some reasonable bathymetry on it, but because it's shallow it takes a lot more to actually plot that than it does when you're in a deeper reef. You'll see in the next scene. This is the bathymetry of the Rouse knob. There's a legend at the top of the screen showing you the colour gradient and the depth range of that gradient. What you want to do is fish off the edge of the knob. I'm just flashing up marks that I have fished in the past there, overlaying it over the bathymetry, and you'll notice that all of them are off the edge of the knob. Some a little bit further than others. It just depends on the day and the tide and the current and the mood of the fish, I guess. But you just got to look around on your sounder and find out where the fish are, and that's where you stop and fish. But knowing the bathymetry of the area does also help. Next time I'm there I'll expand on the bathymetry data. I'll spend another half hour going backwards and forwards over it and expanding on that data. But it gives you a starting point now. You can see where the knob is, that red area, and you want to fish the deeper areas off the edge of it. Now, Fish Tracks has fishing marks for that Rouse knob, and I've put fishing marks for the Rouse knob up in previous videos. Just have a look through my video collection for the video on the Rouse channel. And this is heading back. Again, I had to cut the trip short, and this time it was because of a low battery warning that came up. I didn't realise it at the time, didn't realise it until I got back to the ramp and turned the switches off, but I had turned the switches the wrong way, and while I was using the battery I wasn't charging them. So I had a solar set up on the boat and I had the alternators running to charge them. None of it was working. The only thing that was getting charged was the engine battery, which didn't need it. So when the low battery warning came up, I thought there was something wrong with the charging system. And with a low battery warning, it was unlikely I had enough power left to get through the night, so I headed on home. The reality of the situation was that even had I realised my mistake and corrected the switching while I was out there, I didn't have enough time left in the day to get the batteries charged up enough for the overnight stay. Just another consequence of lack of sleep. Just too small. Definitely too small. Probably too small. Definitely too small. I'll give you a 1 mile. Now, these fellas. Male. Ooh, and a big old bull buck. Wow. Definitely big enough. This might be a female, I think. Just a look at your claws. Come on. Yeah, female. You're a lucky girl. You're full too. Wow. There you go. You're away. Oh! Shit! Oh, shit! Oh! There you legal. Wasn't watching what I was doing, that was my fault. Just as well I had the pliers handy. That hurt. Yeah, you're big. Just shy. No, just in.
Because of the circumstances of this trip, I got back awfully late. It was getting too dark to film shelling the crabs, so I'm throwing in this bit of old footage here, showing you how I shell and clean the crabs before I cook them. I find they taste better this way, and my wife agrees.
Alright, first thing, flip them over and get something and lift up that flap.
Oh, your hands.
Then just lift the whole carapace off from the back like that. Pull its gills out like that. Break off its mandibles like that. And then we just get a hose. And just bring him around here like that, claws to the front and hose out.
Can you go in the shade at all? Ah, there we. Oh.
That's it, and that's all you need to do. He's ready to cook.
And just a little cooking segment on the crabs. I have done this before in years gone by, but it's pretty simple. If you catch some sand crabs, cook them in salt water. If you haven't got salt water from the sea, throw some salt in your tap water and make it a bit salty. Roughly about the same as salt water in the sea is. Bring the water to the boil. Once it's boiling strongly, throw the crabs in. That'll take it off the boil. Wait for it to come back on the boil and turn it straight down onto a simmer. Once you've got it down on a simmer, give the sand crabs 10 minutes in there and then pull them out and dump them straight into a saltwater ice slurry. The mud crab is exactly the same except for the cooking time. For a single mud crab like I've got here in one pot, about 12 minutes is right. But if you've got a pot full of mud crabs, I'd give it probably 15, but no more than 15. 10 minutes for the sand crabs, 12 to 15 for the muddies. And once they're finished cooking, get them straight out of the pot and into a saltwater ice slurry. My theory is that the saltwater ice slurry stops it cooking so that it doesn't overcook, and it also loosens the flesh from the shell, makes it easier to get it out. And that brings the video to a close. I did get a good feed of crabs. I had a bit of fun fighting some sharks. I lost 2 good fish because of the line breakages. I'm going to have to sort that out. That's 3 times now I've lost good fish because of it. And once is happenstance, twice could be a coincidence, but 3 times is getting to be a habit. There's something wrong with that rod or the braid, and I need to figure it out and stop it. Anyway, that's my problem to solve before the next fishing trip. Until then, good fishing.